Here we go. Hello, tarot friends. This is Ultraviolet Morgan, and we're going to do a live walkthrough of the Quantum Tarot. I just tried to do a video on my laptop arcana, so I'm a little sad. But this is the Quantum Tarot. So it comes in one of these. I think of them as, I call them cigarette boxes because of the way that they open on top. They're very sturdy and they keep your deck upright. So the only thing is you do have to be careful, not to try to carry them around, pick them up by the top. This is Quantum Tarot version 2.0, Lo Scarabeo. And it's an amazing deck. The unfortunately lost video, maybe I'll keep saying it, but I got chills so many times. Maybe I'll just turn this a little and down. Okay. The images are really energetic. But they may not make a lot of sense on their own. This for me is probably going to be a study deck, more than, at some point, hopefully I will be reading with it, but I'm really excited to use this as a study deck. I want to look at it. So this is the book, of course. Lo Scarabeo always has Lo Scarabeo. I don't know if I said Beam, but the book will come in several different languages. So you do get a good chunk. This chunk here is English. And then each language, the different language ones have the shorter version. So they don't really take up as much space. So if you're, another language, you get this compared to this. I don't really understand the point of those books, but that's okay. Moving on. I want to take a look at what it says in the very beginning because this is important. And actually, I'm going to skip right down to the last paragraph. No understanding of science is needed to use this deck. The summary text below explains the basic meaning of each card. Now, I don't believe cards have meanings. I believe they have interpretations, but we'll let that slide. For those who want to delve a little deeper, the text at the end of this booklet explains the scientific background behind the cards and draws it in to the card meaning in a really meaningful way. It's really pretty awesome. The whole deck draws extensively on images from the Hubble Space Telescope, and more information about this, including details of image sources, can be found online. Okay, so welcome to the Quantum Tarot 2.0, where modern science meets the ancient spiritual system of the tarot. The quantum inhabits two extreme environments. My eyes are getting old, guys. I'm sorry. Beyond our normal experience, the vast reaches of outer space and the unimaginably tiny world within the atom. These extremes are encapsulated by the two revolutionary ideas of 20th century physics, quantum mechanics and Einstein's theories of relativity. While the major arcana focuses on these theories, the minor arcana examines the phenomena they describe, the strange world of neutron stars, supernovas, black holes, neutrinos, and antimatter. I know nothing about this. And yet, from what I've seen of this deck so far, it's all very, very user-friendly. The core cards take a new look at familiar mythic archetypes from the night sky, the planets, and the constellations through the lens of science. So that is really cool. The core cards are all constellation-based. Just a quick peek at one. We'll talk about those when we get there. Okay, so that's that. All right. Oh, no, we'll just talk about the card stock for a minute. It's really thick. I mean, it's not super thick. It is pretty thick. I mean, this is the thickness of the deck. Now, on the other hand, here's the Light Seers. So the Light Seers is just a bit thicker. Stands just a little bit taller. Cards are about the same size, give or take. These are really thick. Or stiff, I guess. They're good if you like stiff cards. They don't feel cardboardy, but compared to these, they kind of do. Is that? I just smelled something like really good, a good smell, and I don't know if it came from the deck or what. In any event, I guess it was just my angels. These cards, they feel really good in your hands. They're really, they're really, thick isn't the word I want. I don't want to say stiff because that doesn't sound great, but I do want to see like how they bend like in a group. I feel like they bend in your hand pretty well. But I mean, they're really sturdy. That's the word I wanted. These are really sturdy cards. It took me forever to come up with that. And then here's the back. So anyway, I'll just kind of slide this Light Seers out of the way because it's really not important. That was just me taking a moment to check and see if there were any comments, which I don't see any, and can't really see who's watching now, but somebody did give me a thumbs up, so thank you. I feel like I'm going nowhere because I already filmed this, and so now I'm like, I feel like I'm repeating myself. All right, so this is the Fool, and I'm going to look through the book for this because another thing I really love about this deck is there are no words on this deck. We're just going to talk about this card for a minute and some others. There's no words. There's numbers. It's a purely visual deck. We've got, the number 1, the number 2. Later on when we get into, we've got the 3, and then we've got a symbol down here. There are no words. I like that because I feel like it keeps except for the numbers, but still, I feel like it keeps the left brain sort of out of it. It doesn't engage the left brain. It just fully engages the right side of the brain. If you can see, there's this clear, shiny butterfly. I don't know if that'll show up on the film. And I don't know if every card does seem to have a little bit of some of that shininess. Some of it is to augment images that you can see, and some of it is in areas where there's an image overlaid that's not immediately visible in the card itself. So I apologize if you're not able to see those. You will be missing out. So this one here has some things. I don't know if you can see them. And then this one has a lamesque in addition to this. It has like this shadowy sort of figure. So if you can't see that, I apologize. But it's there. I'm just more than likely this deck will be much more sort of exciting in person. I know we haven't even gotten to the first. So, okay, Major Arcana. 0, the Fool. The Fool is the Big Bang. The Fool represents innocence and the new beginnings. He has no experience of life and is open and fearless. What journey are you ready to embark upon? So they all ask these questions that really tie in with the card, and in a really good way, in a really good both self-searching way and a really good way to help you understand the cards. So, I mean, we all have sort of an awareness of that the Big Bang Theory exists. And maybe we don't understand it, maybe we do. We all have an awareness of it. That's pretty much where my physics knowledge ends, honestly. But then when you go to the second section, it will explain a little bit more and then tie it into the card. So the advanced course, it's called. The Fool symbolizes the Big Bang, the creation of our universe. According to the theory, the universe was born in... Hold on just a moment. Sorry, I get... it's like I swallow air when I talk. According to the theory, the universe was born in a single cataclysmic explosion around 14 billion years ago. All matter was created within the first few seconds after the bang, though galaxies and stars took many millions of years to form. The quantum fool represents something new that has emerged, the butterfly struggling forth from its chrysalis. The fool has no fear because he has no life experience. He is ignorant of danger, but also completely open. Without prejudices or hidden agendas, he sees things as they are, even if he does not have the wisdom to understand them. No comments. So then we have the Magician, which is the electromagnetic force. Readjust. There we go. If there's any issues with being able to see the cards, be sure to comment and I'll try to check occasionally. The Magician makes the invisible visible. He represents the ability to manifest an idea or vision. What are you about to create? Turn these backwards. I feel like you can sense how nice and sturdy these cards are. Let me just... Okay. I watched a video that was making fun of all these things that we do before we ever show you the card. Knock on the box a couple times. The High Priestess is the weak force. The High Priestess symbolizes hidden knowledge, introspection, and self-examination. What inner wisdom do you need to discover? All right. Very perfect for the High Priestess. The Empress is gravity. The Empress represents the female principle and the abundance of nature. She's often shown as pregnant, a literal symbol of fertility. What are you giving birth to? This feels a little obvious, but still. The Emperor, the strong force. The Emperor symbolizes the male principle. He is an authority figure who maintains the social order. How do you manifest your personal authority? That's a good question, if you ask me. The Hierophant, Newton's laws of motion. The Hierophant represents orthodoxy and tradition, the accumulated wisdom of our culture. How is tradition informing your behavior? Now, the Hierophant's an interesting card for me because it's a 5. And so 5s all throughout the tarot represent this conflict and this, breaking free. And the Hierophant is like the structure that they're breaking free from. So it's really weird, I suppose, that the Hierophant is 5 and then it is the structure. And I know that I just made it make sense, but even so, in terms of the number 5, it's really hard to understand for me how the Hierophant ties into that. But I do think that maybe working with this deck will help me with it somewhat. If not this deck, maybe some others. It's just one thing that's been on my mind a little bit. that I've been trying to wrap my mind around lately is the Hierophant as number 5. Have I been showing you the back of this card or the front? There are keys. There are invisible keys up here. I don't know if you can see those. The Lovers, Newton's theory of gravity. The Lovers depicts the attraction between two people and shows the possibility of a balanced relationship. Where is the force of attraction at work in your life? The Chariot, special relativity. The Chariot symbolizes the masterful use of will, overcoming contradictory passions to achieve self-discipline. What requires the skillful application of your will? I love that. And what was the Magician? Because I also think about the Magician in terms of will. The Magician's question was, what are you about to create? Okay. So I'm going to go to the advanced course and look at the Chariot. No. All right, yes. Special relativity. Einstein's theories of relativity have revolutionized the way we see the world. His theory of special relativity reveals that space and time are not absolutes. For example, if you are traveling in a very fast train, time passes more quickly relative to someone who is standing still. It is just that the difference is so minuscule we don't notice it. Only when we approach the speed of light does the difference in the passage of time become significant. The Chariot traditionally shows a man struggling to control two horses. The horses are connected like space and time, though they may fight against each other. The card is about the exercise of personal will, a struggle to master our unruly emotions, the contradictory nature. When the Chariot shows up in a reading, it often indicates that we have achieved a certain level of mastery over ourselves. The Charioteer symbolizes this hard-won maturity. Strength represents general relativity. Strength represents self-restraint with gentleness and understanding. It signals the awakening of compassion. Who or what needs your kindness? Such an interesting question for strength. The Hermit is subatomic particles. The Hermit represents a period of contemplation, a quiet exploration of your inner landscape. What illumination might you find in solitude? The Wheel of Fortune, quantum mechanics. The wheel represents the cycles of fate or chance. Timing is all. Be prepared when the wheel turns in your favor. What opportunity is spinning in your direction? And then Justice is Planck's constant. Planck's constant? Planck. Which, just like the tarot to go from the card about motion to constant, which motion is a constant, but still. Justice brings balance and understanding to confusion and muddle, facing you with a clear vision of the truth. How can you look at your situation more honestly? And Planck's constant is, totally foreign to me, so I'm going to see what it says in there. It's a good thing I didn't decide to read the Wheel of Fortune because they gave a very long explanation for that. German physicist Max Planck, we don't care, was the first to use the term quanta in physics. He was trying to solve a problem concerning how heated objects give off electromagnetic waves. According to Newtonian physics, when an object is heated, it should produce ever-increasing amounts of radiation. However, what actually happens is that the radiation peaks at a certain point, then trails off rapidly. Planck explained this by dividing radiation into quanta, or little packets, giving each quantum a specific energy related to its frequency. Then came the clever bit. He came up with the symbol, a new mathematical constant commonly referred to as h-bar. This very tiny number has gone on to play a huge role in the development of quantum theory. Using h-bar, Planck managed to demonstrate that only quanta with a certain amount of energy, not too much, not too little, so it's baby bear energy, just right. Think of it like currency. Banknotes come in certain amounts. Quanta, right? Quantity. 5 pound, 10 pound, 20 pound, etc. Other amounts of money exist, such as 3 pounds, 7 pounds, 12 pounds, but you can't get banknotes in those quantities. Planck's constant helped to make sense of something that otherwise seemed paradoxical. Similarly, the justice card brings truth and clarity to the contradictory or confusing. It shines the cool light of objective truth, and what it reveals may not always be expected or wished for. Right? So, super, super interesting, and I just love the way that do I 100% understand all of that right now? No. Do I pretty much understand what the card is meant to say? Yes. Will I need to review this a few hundred times? Yes, again. But I can tell that the deck is really well thought out, in my opinion. It's just the kind of, I don't know, just the kind of depth I really like in a deck, you know? They can't all be this deep, because you don't really want to, like the Thoth deck, is so deep and layered, and you don't really want, sometimes you want to be able to pick up a deck and read it, Sometimes you want to pick up a deck and study the crap out of it. So there's, there's balance, All right, so the Hanged Man is the uncertainty principle. The Hanged Man asks you to sacrifice your old ways of looking at the world to gain a greater vision. Question is, what are you getting hung up on? Such a good question. Such a good question in regards to the Hanged Man, honestly. The Death card, matter and antimatter. Death requires you to let go of an old idea or situation and embrace change. What needs to die from your life? Grim. Right? Temperance, supersymmetry. Temperance describes the process of blending the different elements of your life together to form a dynamic whole. How have you been tempered by experience? So, supersymmetry is also something I've never heard of. Lately, when I go to do a video, my throat gets really dry. I don't know if anyone's watching. I don't think anyone's commenting. That's fine. It's also fine if anyone wants to comment. Temperance, supersymmetry. This can't talk. Yeah, let's see if I can get that to hold still. The theory of supersymmetry suggests that each matter and force carrier particle in the universe ought to have a shadow or supersymmetric particle far more massive than the original. This is a really interesting theory. I read it when I did the first review or walkthrough that didn't turn out. For example, a quark should have a massive shadow particle called a squark. You gotta love physicians. Okay, physics. Who studies physics? Not a physician, that's a doctor. Physician? Okay, somebody help me out with the word here. I'm losing my mind. I don't know. Whoever. You gotta love physics people, right? For example, called a squark. This is a very persuasive and interesting theory. The trouble is, none of these shadow particles have ever been found. However, the shadow particles might be too massive for current particle accelerators to detect, and as technology improves, supersymmetric particles may yet be discovered. Let's hope so, because supersymmetry is a necessary part of superstring theory. See the star card. And if these particles were found, it would be an important first step towards proving the theory. Supersymmetry was first developed as a way of blending two incompatible theories, quantum mechanics and Einstein's realistic description of gravity. The temperance card represents this symbolically as the idea of blending different, often contradictory elements. Traditional temperance cards depict an angel pouring liquid from one cup to another, representing the refining process of inner evolution and growth. We continually mix, blend, separate, and reblend the different parts of ourselves. And when temperance appears, it reminds us that we are in a particularly fluid stage of transition. That last sentence really kind of hits that home. For the like a kind of new understanding of the temperance card for me that feels really helpful. So the supersymmetric shadow of matter, as I said, it hasn't been studied, so it's only theoretical, but it does sound really spiritual, I guess. It just sounds like very metaphysical, for sure, So I'm interested in this theory, even though I just discovered it. But I'm like, there's some interesting things that jiggles around inside my head for me. I don't know. Maybe nobody else on this channel that watches this channel is gonna nerd out about the quantum tarot, but like I am. And then some of you will perhaps understand physics much better than I, and maybe you'll find it underwhelming. I don't know, but I just really like the way that it marries it together and gives you a little bit of a taste of information. And then, obviously with the internet these days, I can go on and study supersymmetry to my heart's content. Till I get bored of that, and then I can study, matter and antimatter, or my throat hurts, the uncertainty principle, or whatever else. So I don't know, but it makes me excited. What can I say? I'm excited by this whole concept. All right, where the heck were we? Temperance, supersymmetry. Okay. The devil is the black hole. The devil represents anything or anyone that lures you by seduction into giving away your freedom. One sentence, and that is the perfect description of the devil card. How are you allowing yourself to be subjugated? Eyebrows. Okay. The tower. Quantum foam. Another really interesting, weird sounding concept. The tower depicts the unexpected eruption of chaos. This may be a shocking experience, but it holds the promise of freedom. What is shaking you loose? Yes, I'm getting those chills again. Getting chills. They're multiplying. And I'm losing control. The concept of quantum foam evolved out of an attempt to reconcile Einstein's theory of general relativity with quantum mechanics. The idea was to treat gravity as a field, linking space and time to quantum theory's uncertainty principle. The result predicted that at submicroscopic levels, space-time becomes unpredictable and chaotic. Well, that sounds like it matches the tower. Hence quantum foam, a kind of cosmic bubble bath with black holes and wormholes forming and dissolving at alarming rates. This is just super duper exciting. I will leave you to look at this now. Oops. Okay. I'll be right back, though. So I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but that's my wind chime. Somebody was making noise outside, so I went to shut the window. And also, retrieved my phone. It's still chiming because I can look at my phone and it will tell me if anyone's trying to talk to me. No one's trying to talk to me, but I have my phone now. If anyone says anything, I'll be able to see it. So I can see, that I'm on track with what I'm filming. The chimes are still chiming. All right. So there was more about the tower, but I feel like that was probably enough for now. The tower, the star is string theory. It's just gorgeous. The star describes a moment of boundless revelation. It brings creative inspiration and the hope of spiritual awakening. What vision is bringing you hope? It's such a good journaling deck. And I could see you even using it in combination with a lot of decks, but like even the Good Tarot, which also I feel is a good journaling deck. But this one isn't as soft. It doesn't shy away from harsher things. The Moon. Extra dimensions. I love that right away. I love that correspondence with the moon. The moon represents dreams, visions, and hallucinations, the strange, frightening realm beneath the conscious mind. What fearful mystery are you drawn to explore? Now, if that isn't a provocative question, I don't know what is. The sun, M theory. No idea what M theory is. The sun represents consciousness, a place where the many different strands of personality are operating in harmony. Can you feel the heat of your inner sun? Judgment is the multiverse. Judgment symbolizes a profound awareness. Where did I go? A profound awakening of the soul. A resurrection of awareness and understanding. What shift in consciousness have you experienced? Another thing I just really love about this deck, gives you like one or two sentences about this card, and they just really cut to the matter, These are, in my opinion, these are really profound one-sentence explanations for the card. Also, there's no keywords. And there's nothing wrong with keywords, but I kind of love that there's no keywords. Because people rely on keywords too much sometimes. I might get some flack from saying that, but it's not about memorizing keywords. That's all I'll say about that for right now. But I like that these little things, they give you an understanding of the card. They get your brain moving and thinking. And I feel like keywords are more like a thought stop. Like, okay, I've got this card put in the right box now. I can just move on. And I feel like that's not the point with tarot. It's to explore, not to put them all in their little boxes and be done. And everyone's different. Everyone reads different. Everyone's philosophy is different. Philosophy. The world, a theory of everything. The world shows that we have resolved the paradox of living as a limited being in an unlimited cosmos. How are you embracing infinity in a finite world? I know that I haven't resolved that paradox, so that's interesting. Now, this deck also has two extra cards in the Major Arcana, which I think are really, really well thought out. Really quite interested in them. So we have the universe. A lot of times you'll have the universe in place of the world. So I like the way this deck took the opportunity to have an extra card to have the world and the universe, especially considering that it's physics. I knew I needed to cough. I'm going to grab a water real quick. So just enjoy the picture. Just need some water for my throat. So, in the world, and in the physics world, and in the universe, in the world, the world and the universe, I keep saying, but in the existence of things, there is both the world and the universe. They're not the exact same thing. So I like that they have their own separate cards because I really like the energy of both cards, So I like that they decided to incorporate them both into one deck instead of an either or kind of thing. So also, it goes on to say, the universe is a higher vibration of the world card. Your mind is ready to embrace the infinite. Can you exist in a world without limits? Very interesting. But like that, they have decided that the universe is a higher vibration of the final card. And then the next card, or the traditional final card, the Phoenix, is the evolved Fool. So it's a higher vibration of the card that we usually see first. But it also exists as, we know that the Fool is 0, and that we often say that the Fool can be at the beginning, at the end, and exist all throughout. But I feel like I like the way this bookmarks it with it revisiting the Fool. And I have seen other decks do that. But I like that the deck does this with both of these cards. The Phoenix is the evolved Fool rising from the ashes to begin his journey anew. This time the whole universe is his playground. What has been reborn in you? So those are the majors. And obviously, anyone who doesn't want to work with these two cards, you could take them out. You could replace one or both. If you're, just a purist as far as having 22 cards, you could put the Phoenix in instead of the Fool. You could replace both or one of them. But I'm definitely feeling the vibe of both those cards. So those are the majors. I'm going to go check live chat. Nope, still nobody said anything. That's fine. One person watching, and there's a lot of times there's one person watching, and I wonder, is it a real person? Shout out. Say hi. Say hi, one person. All right, now we're going to move on to the minors. And these are actually some things I have a little bit. I might not read all of the full description, even though it's only a sentence or two, or I might. I can't. I haven't decided. So we're going to start with the wands. The Ace of Wands, Photon. The Ace of Wands is the ultimate burst of energy. It is the moment of inspiration. The breakthrough is understanding. The breakthrough in understanding. What is getting you all charged up? And I love the word choice of that. What's getting you all charged up? It's just like, I feel the static in that. Just, I do. It just really fits the Ace of Wands. That static feeling. What's getting you all charged up? What's like that match, like dragging across and, okay? That's a word. I don't know how it's spelled, but it's a word. Two of Wands, planet formation. Represents the process of planning a project or developing an idea. What venture requires your time, attention, and patience? So personally, I don't quite get the link right off the bat from that. Planets form out of disks of dust and gas, whirling into being under the pressure of gravity. The Two of Wands represents a vision, idea, or project in a similarly protean form. The inspiration of the Ace has begun to coalesce, but the details are not yet clear. After the light bulb moment, the process of formation and cohesion must transform your idea into a fully developed plan. Okay. Three of Wands, Galaxy Cluster. Expand your vision. This is a time to think big and formulate plans based on your biggest, truest dreams. What dream is calling you? Four of Wands, Electro-weak unified force. Totally new to me. The Four of Wands is an indicator of unity and shared success. It is the tarot's way of asking you to celebrate what? To celebrate, period. What is it time to give thanks for? These are definitely going to make more sense with the explanation. Electro-weak unified force. That's a cup, first of all. So it's time for me to complain about this deck. I don't know why. The book has them ordered in the way I would order them. And the deck came to me with cups being the next in that order. Okay. See, now this is going to make a lot more sense to you. Ace of Wands. Photon. What is getting you all charged up? Two of Wands. Yeah, look at that. Planet formation. What venture requires your time, attention, and patience? Three of Wands. Galaxy Cluster. What dreams are controlling you? Time to expand your vision, right? Think big and formulate plans based on your biggest, truest dreams. 4, Electro-weak unified force. What is it time to give thanks for, right? Because we're celebrating. 5 of Wands, particle annihilations. The 5 of Wands represents playful conflict or energizing struggle full of creative possibilities. What positive potential is emerging from conflict? Really good, really good. 6 of Wands, star. Interestingly, that the star isn't a star. But that's because the majors and the minors represent different categories of things that I don't understand I don't understand because I don't understand physics. But I acknowledge the truth of that. Is there a lot of I don't know what the word is, so I'll just move along. Where are we? 6 of Wands. The star. The 6 of Wands represents individual success, right? A deserved victory that has been worked for. Are you making the most of your moment to shine? Nice. 7 of Wands. Galaxy collision. The 7 indicates a serious conflict that will require all of your energy and focus to win. What consuming battle are you caught up in? That's an interesting take on the 7 of Wands, actually. It's different from how I normally view the 7 of Wands, but I don't feel like it's out, it's not wrong. It's just different, which I enjoy seeing those different perspectives on the cards, adding more layers and shades to them. Sorry, I was slurping my water a little. 8 of Wands, supernova. I don't know what that means exactly. I don't really know what a supernova is, but just by the sound of it, it sounds... I could see using that for the 8 of Wands. My throat is so dry, guys. Eight of Wands, supernova. The Eight of Wands represents a dramatic rush of energy or an intense level of concentration. How can you make the most of this power surge? Right? So exciting. Let's look at the Eight of Wands advanced course. Supernova. When a very large star reaches the end of its life, it becomes a supernova. The star's core explodes, right? Flinging layers of material far into space. I did know that, but I forgot I knew it. The combustible energy of the supernova is mirrored in the fiery intensity of the Eight of Wands. This card is the apotheosis of fiery wands energy. Its lesson lies in channeling and focusing your fire into productive endeavors. Knight of Wands, Pulsar. The Knight of Wands indicates burnout. It's the old soldier who keeps fighting long after the war is ended. What old habits have outlived their usefulness? And the Knight of Wands sometimes, I've seen it kind of, I could see how it could represent like PTSD, kind of responding to old traumas, old scripts, on guard against things that are no longer present. So, yeah, I can see that. I like the way they put that too. Okay, Ten of Wands, Neutron Star. The Ten of Wands is the card of overcommitment and stress. Yeah, right? You've taken on too much and can no longer cope. What burdens do you need to release? I mean, straightforward, perfect. Andrew, hey, Andrew. How you doing? Good. I was kind of hoping you'd check out this deck with me, so I'm glad you're here. There's a lot of rambling. That was the word I was looking for earlier. I was trying to say I feel like I'm being very rambly, and I rambled on that because I couldn't even think of the word. So I was like, so we'll just move on. Let me see. Where was I? Andrew, you distracted me. Have you ever watched Desperate Housewives? Because Bree's son is Andrew, and just the tone I used made me think of sounding like Bree. Andrew. All right, I just finished rewatching. Anyway, back to the cards. Where are we at? All right, so the Page of Wands. Interesting. The pages have, or the court cards even also have symbols in their chest symbols. So pages have pawns. Knights, you'd never guess it. They have knights. Queens, again, you'd never guess it. Queens. Somebody to me. I'll have to get back to her. And of course, the kings have the king symbol. Me and my oldest son are teaching my youngest son, who is 6, chess. And he's terrible at it, but he's learning. I'm almost as terrible as he is, but that's okay. I'm a little better than he is. But I played for about a year or so as I was learning. Don't think it was 2 years. Anyway, back to the cards. Page of Wands, Orion. I forgive you for distracting me. I actually meant for it to sound, I was trying to sound like playful and teasing, and they came out sounding all, Bree is like, I'm distracted again, but that's okay. Bree is like a Stepford wife, she's just really uptight and perfect, Andrew, All right. So, Orion. I think I pronounced that correctly. I have a nephew named Orion, so I should know. Okay. The Page of Wands is youthful energy personified. He represents childlike openness and boundless enthusiasm. What new interest is firing you up? I mean, they're so simple, but they're so good. They're so... Oh, I just love this little book. I'm glad it came across. It sounded all tisk tisky to me. I just love this book. It's just so on the nose, you know? And again, without using keywords, without being reductionist in any way. I feel like it's really mind opening. I really like that a quality about this deck, you know? I feel like even if you memorize this deck the way people memorize keywords, that it would have a better outcome than memorizing keywords, because and not that I don't think you should memorize to learn tarot, but I feel like if you did that, you'd be memorizing really just thought opening, continuing types of information. I'm a rambling again. Okay. Knight of Wands. Mars. The Knight of Wands has all the enthusiasm of the page, with added strength, focus, and self-control. I don't know if we tend to think of self-control in terms of the Knight of Wands, but we'll go with it. How is the driving energy of combat manifesting in your life? Woo. Okay. Queen of Wands, Venus. That's right, Venus. Okay, so the Knight of Wands is Mars. The Queen is Venus. All right. The Queen of Wands represents... I like how she's the Queen of Wands and not Cups. We're talking about planets. I mean, if this is talking about planets, I'm talking about goddesses. You know? But still, I like how Venus is a wand. I don't know. I just like that it sort of stepped outside of trying to be a cup. The Queen of Wands represents a bold, independent woman who has no truck with stereotypical notions of femininity. What bold version do you need to enact? Nice. She's my hero already. Queen of Wands, Jupiter. The Queen, or King. Why did I say Queen? King of Wands requires you to develop leadership skills and take charge of your situation. Is it time you step forward as a leader? Oh, if you can hear me lurking, Andrew, what kind of work do you do from home, out of curiosity? Be as general or specific as you feel comfortable with. Or ignore the question if you don't feel comfortable with it. And you ever feel like drinking water doesn't really... Like, water's wet, but somehow it feels dry when you drink it. Okay, now cups. Gotta rearrange because I don't know what they were thinking when they put this deck together. But it's beautiful. I mean, it's really beautiful. Also, I don't know if it captures I'm in love with the book, but the cards are also really beautiful, and I don't know if they really are captured that well on film, especially with, using my laptop. It's not the greatest camera ever. Ace of Cups, Graviton. Ace of Cups signifies an upsurge, of love and compassion, an opening of the heart. What is awakening your love? I like that question. It doesn't feel too obvious. Two of Cups, binary system. The Two of Cups indicates the beginning of a relationship, the moment of blossoming between you and another person. Who is drawing you into a relationship? 3 is a star cluster. I love this. Okay. The Three of Cups represents the unique synergy generated by gathering of like-minded people. Is it time you enjoyed the company of friends? This is such a different question from the other ones. They're all so open-ended. Is it time you enjoyed the company of friends? Probably. Probably yes. I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's not a time right now, but probably if you got that card. 4 of Cups. Extra particles. 4 of Cups indicates you have surfeited on something and begun to stagnate. I have an excellent vocabulary, but I don't know the word surfeited or if I pronounced it correctly. surfeited. You are bored, frustrated, and unappreciative. Where have you got stuck? 5, particle decay. The 5 of Cups describes an experience of loss. It's important to mourn, but also appreciate what remains. I love that they emphasize that it's important to mourn because I hate when people, it's a pet peeve of mine when people read this card or teach or read or whatever this card, and they talk about it in terms of don't cry over spilt milk, or you're ignoring the good things and only focusing on the bad, when they don't appreciate the importance of mourning the loss of the 3 cups that have been overturned. I feel that's important. What grief do you need to come to terms with? That's a really perfect question. Come to terms with. Not like wallow in, not set aside, not move past, not get over, but come to terms with. I've been studying the 3 of Swords in the Thoth Tarot, and really interesting thoughts about grief and sorrow in terms of we think of it in such a negative way, and it's not fun, but we tend to think of it as like something we want to avoid, something we want to get over, and it's a part of life, and it's not evil. It's a really important part of life. So maybe I'll do some more studying on the 5 of Cards too, because I feel like those darker concepts right now are, I don't know. Oh, web developer, that's cool. OMG, that's so cool, Andrew. I went to a community college here, a private college, and studied in, first I studied interior design. My plan was to move out of the state because where I live, there's really nothing available, especially for an associate's degree. Well, then I ended up not moving. Then I studied human services, so that's like social work. And I was in a program of student-to-student mentoring program, and my student that I was mentoring was in graphic design. And one of the leaders of the mentoring program also was a teacher in the graphic design. And I really kind of wish I could go study that. I can't just keep studying different things. I need to get a bachelor's one of these days. But I mean, so I don't drive. And so that causes some problems. So, and I just thought, why didn't I study that in the first place? Because I could do such amazing things from home, from my, if I had good, use my student loan money to buy, quality software and programs and things. So then I was thinking about it and thinking about taking some classes in that at least, and they don't have that program anymore. Also, that teacher also puts out a local free camping newspaper, not newspaper, a little newsletter thing. It's kind of cool. So yeah, but they don't even have the program anymore, and this is just a small town with like one sort of local school. Opportunities pass you by. You got me all wistful. But anyway, yeah, I think that's really great. Where was I? Particle decay. So then, Six of Cups, gravitational lens, distant galaxies. The Six of Cups represents the powerful pull of nostalgia, right? Memories of a time when you were innocent and happy. What can you learn from the past? Such a good question. And this is one that's just got things going on very subtly. There's people there. I don't see them right away. At first I was like, there's nothing happening in this picture. You keep looking at it, and it'll show up. I really appreciate that quality of these cards, where there's just images that just kind of float up, It's really cool. Let's see, where was I? I got really lost in the Six of Cups. Seven of Cups. Red Giant. The Seven of Cups represents dreams, imagination, and fantasies. They can easily become clouded by desire or fear. What dreams are preoccupying you? I just got all preoccupied. What's a dream about? Graphic design. This, if you can see the reflection, this is a really cool card. Where was I? Oh, I did want to ask, do you know anything about physics or quantum physics? Is this an area where you're knowledgeable? That's the word I wanted. Because for me, it's not, but it's interesting. And I'm not a huge science person, really, or I never was, but I am interested in it. But other things kind of pull at me a little more. So it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But look at this thing about mythology over here. Oh, wow. I didn't expect the response so quickly. Art student in high school. Huh. I took a lot of art classes. I took like every art class I could, pretty much. And then I was in art club. And I know like some people, like they would talk about art. Colleges, it was literally where I learned art colleges existed. I couldn't really imagine, I couldn't picture that for myself. I definitely had the idea in my head of a liberal arts type of college. It just seemed like an entire college of art, basically. It just seemed crazy to me, but So we had to write these papers. I wrote a paper about Rodin. It was assigned to me. I didn't know who he was, so luckily I got assigned him. So I got to learn all about the thinker and the gates of hell and all the, awesome stuff that he did. And I took copious notes, and I never wrote the paper. I ended up with a 0. And about 30 or more years later, 20 years, okay, so it's only been like 20 since I've been out of high school. Whatever. 20 years later, it occurred to me, why didn't I at least turn in my notes? Maybe she would have given me partial credit to show I did some kind of work. But I just couldn't at that time figure out how to like synchronize it all into something, one thing. Probably my undiagnosed ADD. They call it ADHD no matter what, but I don't have the H, so I don't like to say ADHD, but whatever. Blame it on my ADD, baby. So yeah, that's my art story flashback. Let's see. I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube about quantum physics. They're super fascinating. As long as, they're short and you watch them and they're kind of mind-blowing, and then you forget them because they're so mind-blowing that they just don't make sense or connect to anything else. But they are really interesting to watch. Where was I? Seven. We did 7. 8. Nuclear reactive decay. The 8 of Cups represents the desire to break free and walk away, right? If necessary, leaving everything behind. What are you ready to move on from? I like that. This is one of my cards that comes up a lot when I do spiritual gifts type of reading or anything like that. This card is always there. This card and I think the 3 of Swords. I did a reading once that was pretty much saying happiness, being in a comfort zone is the worst thing for you. And I was like, wow, that's just great. Thanks for that. If you know anything about numerology, which I didn't until not too long ago, I'm an 8, which is a really difficult life path number. And this is an 8. So that just clicked. Why am I even talking about this? One of the common things they say about 8 is that 8 is like the master manifester. So some people think that 8s are like it's really easy to be an 8, and 8s have all this money, and 8s just manifest things and da 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 da. But so my son the other day, my youngest son who's 6, said, "We must have been millionaires once," or something like that. And I was like, "What? Why do you say that?" And he's like, "Because we have all this stuff." So I am a little bit of a manifester, I suppose, but I don't manifest millions of dollars. I just, because I was like, wow, I mean, most of this stuff, it was free, or basically free to me. I just pointed to a bunch of stuff. My couch was given to me when I moved into 2 houses ago, or 2 apartments ago. My TV stand was given to me. I have a second TV stand that I wheeled in from out by the dumpster. It's full of books and things, and cards, and papers, and junk. I have a big chair that my nephew gave my son. I have this wooden table that heavy wooden table that someone gave me when I moved into a place and didn't have anything. A lot of stuff was just offered to me. So, and this table was, I love it because it's sturdy and it's like solid wood. And I think it's, I think it's amazing, but it's also really difficult to move and it's not really in style, it's more trendy, I guess, and it's huge for my space. But it's great because I've got it covered in cards and books and papers and junk. That's pretty much what I have in my house, as you can see. I've got billions of books that a lot of them were free. Some of them were not free. Some of them were gifts. I found a lot of things that, like the library, a lot of books that they give away. I'm really rambling now. My TV, my ex bought. He was a truck. Was, I don't know. We don't speak at all. Truck driver, and he bought the TV for our place, and some of the furniture came from friends of his. And when he left, he didn't take the TV because he left. He lived in a truck, so he didn't have room for it anyway, I guess. But he just kind of, that's its own story. He left behind a lot of things. So my point was that people used to give me coats all the time. I never bought a coat for years because people were always giving me coats. And I'm not a person who's really, I guess I'm just happy to have a coat. I'm not like, oh, I need this coat. I need this new stylish, fancy coat. I need these Nike Air Jordans that are cool or whatever. So if I have a coat and I'm warm and, I don't hate it, then I'm happy. So I guess I do sort of have that manifestation energy, I guess. Okay, wow. The day is really going by. I'm going to have to go pick up my kid from the bus stop soon. So let's just fly through here. 8 of Cups. What are you ready to move on from? These long stories, okay? 9 of Cups. Starbirth. Starbirth. Not starburst. Starbirth. This is a card of plenty and material abundance. What do you have cause to give thanks for? 10 of Cups. Spiral Galaxy. Represents a satisfying relationship or happy marriage. Okay. Augurs stable and lasting happiness. Can you accept the blessing of long-term contentment? That's a good question. Page of Cups is Ophia. I don't know this word. Ophiuchus. So this is a constellation. The Page of Cups embodies emotional openness and curiosity. Creativity, magic, and healing knowledge are particularly important to him. Can you cultivate a childlike approach? Done. This is my card, actually, so I'm done. I'm cultivated. Might need to work on cultivating an adult-like approach. Let's see. Knight. Perseus. The Knight of Cups symbolizes the power of an ideal, the importance of a vision that you can passionately believe in. What vision or quest calls to your heart? Man. Chills. Queen of Cups. The Queen has an uncanny knack for reading others' emotions and a highly developed sense of empathy. What deep feelings are you sensing? Nice. King of Cups. Neptune. Love it. Gorgeous. I don't know if you can see the image in there really well. What do you think of these cards from an art student perspective? I don't know if they're artsy or not. The King of Cups represents the ability to manage and contain powerful emotions without being overwhelmed by them. What feelings are you being challenged to control, right? Ace of Swords. W and Z. Man, I need glasses. Bosons. Bosons. Signifies clarity of perception, the ability to cut through confusion to the truth. Where do you need to focus your cutting edge? Nice. Two Swords, Dark Matter. We're going to have to talk about this whole art student thing sometime. Because I have a real serious fascination with art. Especially art school. Well, you said it was in high school, but that's fine too. My blindness is blinding me. Two of Swords, Dark Matter. Two Swords represents an unsatisfactory stalemate where you cannot see the whole picture, right? How are you being blinkered? I'm sitting here going, I can't see. Three of Swords, Red Dwarf. The Three of Swords is the card of heartbreak, bringing an awareness of where and how you are hurt. What painful emotions do you need to acknowledge? Four of Swords, Neutrinos. Represents a period of rest and meditation or time spent alone in reflection. Are you allowing yourself enough inner space? So, with that, we're going to take a time out. I don't know if I'll be able to get back to this right away after I pick my son up. It might be a little while later. So, yeah, don't put it off. I don't think they were expensive. Or put them on your list, put them in your cart. That's what you do. Put them in your cart, and even if you click them down to once they're in your cart, you can put them on save for later, but they're still in your cart. And you'll get notifications. You'll click on it, and if the price drops, they'll let you know that the price dropped, and you can be like, oh, the price dropped. Sometimes it only drops a couple of cents, but, I've got a bunch of things. I started doing that. I've got a really long list of save for later in my cart. Some things are things I've already bought. I just have to actually delete them. I don't talk on camera because I have a chipped front tooth. I may or may not have mentioned, but I was trying to find my button to end the stream. You have a good afternoon too, Andrew, and I'll talk to you later. And hopefully we can look through the rest of this deck. Let me know your thoughts after the live stream. All right, until next time, be well.